Hello everyone, this side Diksha Ahuja. Welcome back to my channel Economic Zone by Diksha Ahuja. So today's topic for the day is Collection of Data Chapter 2 of Statistics. So let us know the content of the chapter. So this chapter covers the following content. We will study about primary and secondary data. Then we will talk about the methods to collect the primary data, which are direct personal investigation, indirect oral investigation, information through local sources and correspondence, and lastly, information through questionnaires, mailing method and enumerator method. And after that, we will study qualities of a good questionnaire with its example. And lastly, we will study the collection of secondary data through different organizations. So this video covers half part of the chapter till methods of collecting primary data, and the second video will cover the other half of the chapter. So this video will cover primary and secondary data and all the four methods to collect primary data. But before that, let us understand what is primary data and what is secondary data and understand the difference between the two. So let's talk about primary data. Now, what do you mean by primary data? The word itself suggests primary means the original version. That means when the researcher himself goes outside for the survey and do the collection of data, right? When the investigator goes himself, it is known as primary data. That means in the case he is not collecting it from any organization or somebody else. He is doing the survey on his own or he is hiring some other persons. Now let's talk about secondary data. What do you mean by secondary data? That data which is already in existence, that is, which is already been collected by somebody else, and now we are using that used data. So it can be said that secondary data are those data which are already collected by other person. For example, published articles or government publications and so on. So let's understand the difference between primary data and secondary data. There's a lot of difference between primary and secondary because primary means the original data which the researcher himself does, and secondary data is a second-hand data which the person gets from any organization or so on. So let us understand the difference between primary and secondary data, which is important in CBSE. So the first basis is meaning. In primary data, we are saying the researcher is collecting the data himself. In secondary data, we are saying that data is collected by some other person and we are using that data. What can you say about originality then? Original. So primary data is original definitely, but secondary data is not original but is already collected by the other person. Let's talk about the adjustment. Which data needs adjustment? Primary data is the actual real data which do not need any adjustment because it is done for the main motive only. On the other hand, secondary data needs to be adjusted. Why so? Because it might happen that our aim is quite different from the previous aim for which the data was collected. So there is a need to adjust the data according to the aim of ours. Last, time consuming and costly. Definitely from all these above parameters, we can know that primary data is time consuming plus it is costly as well because it requires people to involve time to consume it. On the other hand, secondary data is reasonable and less time consuming because we need to go to some organization or take some government publication to get the secondary data. So I hope from this video, you'll be able to understand the difference between primary and secondary data on the basis of meaning, originality, adjustment, and time consuming and costly. So let us know some important terms, because the next topic we're gonna do is methods to collect primary data. So you should know following words in your mind. Let us know. First is investigator. You must know who is an investigator. The person who conducts the statistical study. The person who is behind the statistical study, who does the main thing. You can say he's a statistician, the economist. Secondly, who is an enumerator? Enumerator is the person who collects the information, who goes door to door to collect the information for the investigator for the statistical study. That means enumerator is the person who collects information. Next, respondent. The other name you can give it is informant. The person who gives the information, or the person from whom we are asking the information, is known as respondent. That means this person is responding to us. This person is an informant to us. So I hope these three important terms are clear to you. So next, let us know the methods of collecting primary data. These are direct personal investigation, indirect oral investigation, information through local sources and correspondents, information through questionnaires, that is mailing method, and enumerator method. So let us understand each one of them with their merits and demerits in the further video. The first method of collecting primary data is direct personal investigation. So under this method, the investigator himself establishes a direct relation with the person from whom the information is required. That means the data is personally collected by the investigator from the informants, from the respondents, right? So this method is useful when the area of investigation is small. Since in this case, the investigator has to maintain a direct relation first and then ask any questions. So let us talk about the merits and demerits of the same. So what can be the merits of direct personal investigation? First is originality, original. Yes, definitely the data which will be collected under this method will be original, because the investigator himself asking the question personally from the informants. Secondly, it is reliable enough. Why it is reliable? Because the data collected is real and original. So we can rely on this data. The conclusion drawn from this data will be reliable enough. So let's talk about demerits. Is it suitable for large field of investigations such as a state or a country? No, it cannot be suitable for large field of investigation, since it requires to maintain a personal relation with the informant. This cannot be possible to cover it for the entire country, for the entire state. And second demerit we can talk about is it is time consuming. Right? We are not having that much time to take while talking to the informant. So yes, this process, this method of collecting primary data is time consuming. Next we have is indirect oral investigation. Now what do you mean by indirect oral investigation? This method of primary data is collected in the case when the person cannot give the information, then one third party will come up as a witness to answer, to reply as a respondent. Let's take an example for this. If I want to know a child of 3 months has been vaccinated or not, definitely the child cannot speak, so who will answer on his behalf? His parents or grandparents. So in these cases, which method is used? Indirect oral investigation. I can give you more examples such as patient cases or the old people who cannot speak because of their condition. Their answers are replied by their children and any other person. So these are the examples. Let's talk about merits and demerits. Merit says that it is suitable for large field of investigation since there is no need to maintain a personal relation. Yes, it can be work for large field of investigation, and at the same time it is less expensive as well. So what are the demerits? it is not original, definitely, because the person from whom we need the information is not replying. Rather, some other person is replying instead of that person. Secondly, personal biasness. Now in this case, just think about who is personal biased. Biased means partial. कौन partial है इस case में? The witness is partial. I'll give you one example for this. Let's say we are conducting a survey for old people getting the pension or not. It might happen that the old person of a house is getting pension, but because of the greediness, the children of that old person says, no, we have not got the pension. So the witness might have a personal biasness for replying for their own use. So I hope it is clear. Let's move to the third one, that is the third method of collecting primary data is information through local sources and correspondence. So let's know who are local sources and correspondence. The person who stand outside a street and give us the regular information regarding any statistical study. So we can say that investigator appoints local persons or correspondent at different places to give regular information. So we can say that this method of primary data will be used only when we need regular and continuous information for any survey conducted. So it will also have merits and demerits. So let's talk about merits and demerits of local sources and correspondence. What can be the merit? Definitely for, let's say, 3 to 4 streets. Like 4 streets, I'm having one local person watching all the news, right? So it will be economical because I need to hire less enumerators, I need to hire less labor. Secondly, wide coverage. And to get the regular information, a wide coverage will be there in this case. Why so? Because a small number of local sources will give the information for let's say whole locality. I have hired one local person for one locality, the other local person for other locality, and therefore it will cover a wide coverage of information. What can be the demerits? Now this local person is not asking the respondents directly. He's just watching it out from behind and seeing it and telling to the investigator. So is there any originality in this data so that we can rely on this? No. It has loss of originality because the local persons are not asking the questions from the respondents, from the informants. Rather, they are giving the information by watching it themselves. Okay, secondly, personal bias. This like common thing in this. Let's say the local person do not goes to the place, right? Do not go to that place, and what he does is he sits at his home and from that only he calls his investigator. That's how this is the information I have achieved. So is it good? No. He can have personal bias, and without going to the job as well, he can answer because there is no originality that he has taken. He has collected the data from the respondents. So this information is needed only when we need regular and reoccurring information about any statistical study such as inflation rate, etc. Next one, the last one is information through questionnaires, mailing method and enumerators method. This is interesting. You must have seen Google Forms giving you mails asking that fill this information, it is related to my study. I have got many. So this method is related to the mailing method. Now what do you mean by mailing method? You will get a mail and you will respond to the investigator by mailing, and there will be a letterhead also attached for the purpose of inquiry. You will reply everything and you will submit the mail. They will get your information easily. So obviously it is also having merits and demerits. Let's talk about the merits and demerits of this case. So economical, definitely now internet is very cheaper, so this method, mailing method, is very economical, cheaper. And secondly, the respondent will himself fill the information, so this method is original also. Let's talk about demerits. Demerits means the problems which occur in this case. So people do not take interest. How many mails you see every day? Obviously the important ones only, and other ones you leave. So the people do not take interest in these kind of like information asked. Do not take interest in this kind of information. And secondly, this method is only used by educated people. What about if I want to know the poverty data, whether the government is giving like public distribution system, or they're getting subsidized rates of rice, wheat or not. If this kind of data I need to ask for, then this method is not suitable, because this method is suitable for only and only educated people. So the B part of this fourth one is enumerators method. So the B part is enumerators method. So in this method, there is an enumerator, that means the person who collects the information, and he carries question paper to ask the questions. He might stop you and ask the questions, and he will fill the questionnaire himself after asking from the respondents, and may clarify the doubts as well. So enumerators carry the questionnaires, directly visit and note down the responses themselves, and also clarify the doubts. You can have a look on the picture here, which is showing how enumerator fills the questionnaire. So it will also be having some merits and demerits. So let's talk about the merits. So merit says the personal contact. From here, the enumerator can have a personal contact with the respondent, and therefore it can also cover a wide area. Demerits can be it is expensive, because we need enumerators, we need questionnaires, a huge amount of cost is involved. And secondly, we need a skilled enumerator who is able to ask the questions properly from the respondents. So this is it for today, and the next part of the video, next part of the chapter will cover up the qualities of the questionnaire and the secondary data. Thank you for watching.